welcome to the show, The Total You. I am your hostess, Evangelist Faris Wallace, and we're coming under the direction of Abundant Faith Cathedral in Detroit. We're under the direction of Bishop Joel T. Wallace, who is the pastor. Our presentation is about your mind, body, soul, and spirit, so I'm asking, sit back and enjoy this broadcast. Welcome to The Total You, and I am your hostess, Evangelist Faris Wallace. We're coming under the direction, actually, of Abundant Faith Cathedral, and I have with me one of our members today, and he's going to go over some of the things we've talked and discussed earlier, if you've tuned in. We're going to have him introduce himself again.
My name is Norman Bomer. I am a former union rep for 3 different separate union organizations. And I had the opportunity of talking to quite a few working families over the last 30 years.
Amen. And we're talking about job concerns and things that are happening that we need to kind of address as we're, in the society that we're living in. And one of the things we're having to address is maintaining a job, but also making sure that we're set for our retirement?
For the future.
Yes, for the future. And go ahead.
Don't ever pigeonhole yourself. We all are creatures of habit.
Okay.
We think for the time. We don't think about the future. We just live in the time. Can't do that because, listen, if you don't prepare yourself for the future, then you're going to set yourself up to fail. I know that sounds pretty bad, but I can assure you, I've seen it happen. So you have to prepare yourself for the future. The economy is changes. It goes up and down. And First Lady, we can tell you how many recessions we've seen.
And it's not pretty.
It's not pretty at all. Just because everything's going okay now, a year from now, it can go right in the tank. And you don't want to find yourself in a bad spot. You got to be able to weather those storms. You got to be able to make sure that you find you some viable employment, something that's going to last, something you can take from place to place. You don't want to find yourself out here scratching for a job. And the hardest thing in the world is looking for a job when you ain't got but $5 to your name.
I'm going to ask that thing, about the jobs. We've got a lot of people out there who are looking for jobs, and yet they're not qualified for these jobs. So what do you suggest? I mean, back when we were coming through, they would give us opportunities to go and learn a trade and still work.
You can actually still do that.
Okay.
You can go down, there's a trade unions. You can look those up online that actually pay you for taking on the job training.
Thank you.
Bricklayers, masonry work. You can try to put yourself in line doing sheet metal work. This is skilled trades. Those are in you can go down. If there's a union hall down on Trumbull, Michigan and Trumbull, you can go down there and find out what kind of trade unions are offering any type of training.
Okay.
And those are jobs that pay good money.
And the thing is, like you said, look in the future. You may not think that that's something you want to do, but that side hustle, that comes in handy. Oh, you can do something the plumbing. Oh, go to the plumbing.
Yes.
Yes.
I know an individual who happens to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
He does plumbing on the weekend.
Okay.
On actually Friday and Saturday. He comes to your house in late Sunday evening if he has to. But he has a job. He's been working there. I've been there 11 and a half years. He's been working with me. He's taking that money that he earns from the plumbing, and he's taking that money and set it aside for his future.
Thank you.
He's living off the money he's making from the job. So now he's he will be 65 years old, I think sometime in the middle of next year. He's set to retire.
Okay.
Because he didn't have to take his money that he's making on his job, which I make good money, but it's not enough money if that's what you want to do. He's got a family he had to take care of. So you got to set something aside. If you're doing plumbing and electrical work,
yes,
I know people who do electrical work. I know people who put up cameras for your security in your homes.
Yes.
There's so much you can do, something that you like to do. You have to really like it. If it's just a job, you're going to have some problems. But if you enjoy doing it and you know you're good at it, you can make some money. There's so many options out here. Don't ever restrict yourself. Never. Don't limit yourself. You may be a lot smarter and brighter than you ever think you were. So make sure you go out there and put yourself in line to do that. Don't go. If you don't like that job, if you know that job is, I tell people, you know that job is not paying you enough money, what are you going to do about it?
Thank you.
I mean, are you going to accept that?
Okay.
Don't get mad because that employer is not paying. He's going to pay you what he's going to pay you. If it ain't enough, you need to move on.
And that, according to that one, okay, you said that employer, okay, a lot of employers now can say, well, I don't want you to work for me anymore.
They can let you go.
Come on.
You're an at-will employee, and they just don't like the color shirt you got on that day. They can let you go and don't have to explain that to anybody. You just gone. You're out the door.
Okay, I'm going to ask, is that part of is that something that the union is futzing with?
The union could do that because if they fire you or let you go, they have to show just cause.
Okay.
But you got to remember, only 13% of the workforce is union.
Okay, come on.
The rest of them are at-will employees.
So, okay, and I'm going to say this. Is this something the political situation is?
Yes, you got to remember, and I'll say this, the incoming administration is not working family and union friendly. They don't like it.
Okay.
What they can do is get in there and pass laws and pass bills to make it difficult for people to organize, make it difficult for you to have a union in your workplace facility, and you're going to find yourself in a bad spot. Also, they can put some laws in place where your employer can just really just run over you roughshod, period. I've seen it happen. So you got to remember, this new administration that's coming in, they don't like diversity and inclusion. In other words, not right now, if you are a government and you're looking for money outside the government, you have to belong to diversity and inclusion. That's part of the job. They put in so many minorities. They put in so many blacks, so many people that are handicapped, so many women. They have to have so many in that job. Maybe 2%, maybe 3%. That's part of the bargain. So if you got a government contract, they're trying to do away with that now. And they're working on it right now as we speak. I asked everyone, even if you're not political, make sure you find out what's going on. I am a political hack. I watch everything. But I just want you to watch enough so you can know what's going on out here. I don't want you to get bushwhacked and all of a sudden you find out tomorrow something's going down that you should have known about a year ago. You got to find out what's happening. This current administration, and things change from one administration to the next. Entitlements, EBT cards, anything that, so even things that assist seniors, they're looking to cut it out. Mm-hmm. They just don't believe in it. They think there's just too much government spending. That's just the way it is. So you got to make sure you put yourself in a spot. Right now, if you get laid off, you're entitled to so much unemployment, that's subject to change. Mm-hmm. I remember you can get up to 2 years under the Obama administration when he hit that snag in the economy. Now you got 90 days and one extension. That's it.
And this is the way the political arena is really changing. And a lot of us don't understand a lot of the things that are happening. And we don't understand the ramifications of why are they changing the Social Security? What are they doing? What does that really mean?
Well, right now, there's Social Security and there's SSI benefits for people who are disabled.
Okay.
So you got to understand, right now there's a certain amount of money paid out. There's certain things put in place to help people like that. A system, you can get, what do they call it now? If you get assistance paying your rent for low income people, you can get assistance paying your health insurance for low income people. They're looking to do away with a lot of that. They want to slash it. Right now, their claim is that Social Security is going to go broke, but they just don't believe in entitlements. That's just the way it is. And if you're getting you can be getting $500 a month food assistance, EBT cards. They can cut that down to $100 too. They've done it before. It's happened before. You be getting, what do they call that when you get, seniors get assistance with paying their rent?
I don't know.
Well, Section 8.
Oh, okay. Section 8. Okay.
You can get Section 8. and they can be paying 80% of your rent, 75% of your rent. They can cut that down to 50. Could you imagine you on a fixed income and all you're getting is so much money a month? That can be hard on you. When you're a senior and you're out here trying to make it, and somebody take $100 out of your paycheck, it could be catastrophic because you're just making it. You got to think about this stuff when you're younger.
Yes.
The hardest thing is to do when you think you're 20, you think you're going to live forever and nothing's going to bother you. You think you always got time. I can assure you that 60 going to come up a lot quicker than you think it is. And when you out here trying to struggle at age 65 and 70 years old, it's a rough go. I couldn't imagine that. Got to think about this stuff ahead of time.
Amen. You know what? One of the things you mentioned was this young man who was doing a job on the side, and he was living off the job he was working, and he was putting that money in the savings.
Exactly.
And see, a lot of us don't do that.
No.
Or we'll go out and buy that designer clothes.
Go buy out the. Let me say that.
Oh, I can afford it now.
Let me tell you this. I had a guy work with me, and he had $1,200 gym shoes on. He had about 5 or 6 pair.
Oh my Lord.
He had about 2 or 3 designer jackets, cost well over $2,000, $1,500. Didn't own a car, didn't own any property. And it's okay to wear those things, but you got to make sure you got some money saved up, and could barely make it to work and work from week to week. It's not worth it. You get those things later when you can afford them. Don't buy them and make that expensive. You're trying to survive. It's not good. As the First Lady said, if you got an extra job or hustle, you can take that money and put it up. Take that money, buy you some property. You can take that money and put it in an IRA or 401k and live off the money you make on your job. You know you got that going. You know that's for the future. You building for the future. But if you just only have that job and it's not already paying the minimum amount of money and you struggling, no one wants to struggle for 20, 30 years. That's not good.
Thank you.
I've seen it over and over. I've seen people, and you, First Lady, even sometime when you're at church, you see people struggling and they get up and they need $150 just to pay for a job training. Didn't have it. They had to borrow it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that don't mean that person's a bad person. That person got themselves in a spot where they don't have enough money to do little small things like that. That's not a lot of money to me, but that's a lot of money to that person. You don't want to find yourself in a spot like that.
Thank you.
It's rough. So if always make sure you got something that you can do. The job cloud has changed. You can't put in 20, 30, 40 years on a job anymore. That's just not going to be happening. It don't work like that. These people out here at these General Motors and stuff like that, once the older crew retires, you got a new crew coming in. They don't have pensions. They don't have the benefits you and I have.
Right.
They don't even have insurance. My mother, she gets health insurance and everything on her retirement. She gets health insurance and everything on her retirement. All that stuff is gone now.
See, and that's something we've got to really get concerned about and be aware of. And that's why we're talking about concerns about our job. Are you aware of not just the benefits that you receive, but how do you go about augmenting or adding to those benefits so that you'll survive later on in life? You talked about these IRAs and these
401ks and Roth IRAs. Mm-hmm. You can put money in there, but who can afford to put $500 a month into an IRA? That's a lot of money.
And what? Wasn't it before that the companies would give a certain percentage if you
now some companies, I think they said about half of them, you only get in there what you put in there.
Okay.
Now my company puts in 4% up to 4% of your annual income in there, which is okay. But a lot of companies don't do that. And so that's not going to be enough money for you.
Yes.
So, and then the job's not paying a lot of money. I'm telling you right now, I was listening to the radio this morning. There are a lot of job trainings in the city of Detroit. You go online and look at them, and they got some job training where you actually get paid for the job training.
Okay.
Skilled trades. My son was looking into that the other day. They actually pay you a salary while you're training.
Okay.
You got to look into all of that. See, those things like that, you're going to make. Let me tell you something. People talk about plumbers and bricklayers. They make good money.
Mm-hmm.
I know bricklayers that make $30-something an hour.
Yes.
I know plumbers that, but if you're a plumber and you're a good plumber, I know a guy right now. He just all he does is snakes drains, and people laugh at him. But even if he comes out to your house and you don't, he's got $50 just for coming out there and doing a survey on your home. No matter what, he's got money coming in, and they laughing at him because they said it's a dirty job. But yeah, guess what? He's able to retire at 65.
I'm going to ask a question because a lot of our younger people, they look at these jobs, like you said, as being dirty jobs. And they go into a job with what we call attitudes.
You got to have,
come on.
when you go to work, you have to have an attitude adjustment before you walk in that door.
Yes.
Because you may not like the supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
may not like the climate around that work. So you get there and work till you get yourself together and then get out of there. I am 66 years old. I don't always like the supervisors that I work with.
Come on.
And but because I come to work every day, because I do what I'm supposed to do, they can't really bother me.
Okay.
Because I don't have anything on my record. But that's not always the case, because sometimes they can still fire you.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand that you got to come to, first of all, you got to come to work every day. It's number one.
Come on, come on.
And I see a lot of guys, a lot of people in general, for some reason, they got Friday, they ain't there. Monday, they not there.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to go out and party all weekend, and you can't come to work Monday. You need to cut that off on Saturday. And Sunday, make sure you get yourself ready to go to work that Monday. And then they'll fire you.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people get fired for drinking alcohol. Even though marijuana is legal in this state,
Mm-hmm.
a job has a right to refuse employment to you if you have it in your system. If people say, well, it's legal. Well, no, it's legal. But the company has a right to set work rules. If that work rules say you can't have it in your system, they don't have to hire you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
you got to be subjected to that.
Yep. Don't think you can smoke all day and come to work and it won't bother you. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have an accident on the job, and they're going to send you to the clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And when they send you to the clinic, I don't know how many people screw their jobs up. I know a person right now put in for a really good job, went through all the phases, background check and everything. And they failed. They didn't get the job because their urine came back dirty.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think, oh, I can do that. I'm clean. I'm good. And you're doing all these drugs and you're not understanding that that's a safety issue for a company. And they don't want to pay you for getting on an injury or injuring yourself or hurting yourself on their job, because that means they've got to pay for you.
There's a liability that goes to them.
Thank you.
If they allow you to come to work like that and they know you come to work like that, that liability is on them. That's why they don't want you under the influence. And let me tell you, and I'm not telling on anybody, I'm just saying, because I'm not mentioning any names. I know people that come to work and the first thing they do in the morning is they smoke them some marijuana before they hit that door. You think you're in the right mind, but you're not in the right mind. Your mind is not clear, and you make mistakes and accidents happen. That's what's problematic is you're hurting that person that works next to you safety because you're not right.
Mm-hmm.
You want to smoke marijuana? Okay, that's but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you.
I am so concerned about this because I'm seeing a lot of commercials, the CBD oils and things like this. And they say, oh, it makes me work better. Not necessarily. You may think that you're easing yourself and you're under control. And actually you're not, because you're not thinking 100% clear.
Anything that alters your ability to think, and marijuana does,
Mm-hmm.
and alcohol does, and other drugs, it alters your way of thinking. That's the funny thing about those particular things. They make you think that you run it on all cylinders, but I can assure you don't. I've seen it firsthand, and when people work next to me and I look at them in their face, I can tell. But you're not you're not running on all cylinders. You're not. And those things gonna come back to bite you in the rear end. It's not good. But you, like I said, you got to come to work on time.
Yes.
You got to make sure that the employer, you got to follow the work rules in that place. Got to follow them. You don't have to like them, but you got to follow them.
Oh, and wait, don't get up in your supervisor's face.
No.
Ooh.
Let me tell you. And
this is job concerns, y'all. Come on.
Listen. And I'm not gonna sit here. I pray every day, but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that sometimes supervisors don't get under my skin. I have to walk away, and sometimes I have to murmur. I have to walk away, and I have to ask God for help. I do. I have to. But I'm doing that because that's an advantage to me, and it's a detriment to me if I allow. My grandfather used to always tell me, "Don't let nobody else mess with your money."
Come on.
He did. He said, nobody else to mess with your money. Don't let somebody interfere with you working. You don't like that person, walk away from them. Because sometimes that's what they want you to do. They want you to make you angry and you lose your job. Because once you lose your temper, that's it. Don't let them interfere with that. And after a while, if they realize they can't get under your skin, 9 times out of 10, they're going to back off. And I can count on both hands how many supervisors really got under my skin. They don't know it, but they did.
Mm-hmm. We've got to learn how to maintain our job security. Oh, wow. Wait. You're responsible for how you work on your job, not somebody else, like he was saying. Don't let somebody else interfere with your earning, your money. And it's you doing it, not them. It's you. It's how you respond. Your job security and how you work.
And you got to do what you got to. You have to do. And let me say this. One of the things that I see that cause a lot of people to be terminated, and lose their jobs is attendance.
Okay.
And I told my son one day, nobody cares about that bus being late. Nobody cares about your ride being late or you oversleeping. They don't care about that. They want you on that job. If you got to be there at 7 a.m., that's what time they want. You should be there but before 7. Be there on the job, ready to work. Nobody wants to hear about that. I know that sounds harsh, but that's just the reality. Because if you don't work and you don't come to work, guess what? There's a whole line of people out there waiting to take your job. And they can replace you at the drop of the hat. But you got to be there. Well, hey, I wasn't my fault I woke up late. Oh, yes, it was.
It was. Come on.
Can't go to work. You can't go to bed 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, expect to get up on time. Don't work like that. Or you took a day off because you partied the day before. Or you got a hangover. Can't do that. Or I heard a lady tell him one time, say, well, I was late, but I was here. Really? Yeah, but you were late. And I tell everybody, even when I was a union rep, that they just end up getting fired for taking a day off. No, you didn't get fired for taking this day off. It was all those days you took off before that got you to this point where you couldn't take another day off. That's why you got to come to work even when you don't feel like it some days. Even when you don't feel like it. Then you have the luxury of taking those days off because most of you got PPO days to take off. That's why you come to work. And then you can afford it when you got those days left in your bank. But if you take a day off just because you just hanging out, no.
The thing I want people to understand too from this is you've got to set your own priorities.
And your own set of standards, good standards.
Yes.
It ain't for the employer.
Yes.
It's for you.
It's for you.
Bad work habits is what they are. They're habits. And you get caught in that groove and you continue to do that. You got to get yourself caught in just coming to work, do what you got to do every day. You got to get yourself in the habit of making sure that you pay your bills on time, that you make sure you got extra additional money coming in. You got to make sure that you take care of, if you don't save but $20 a week, put some money up. You're going to need it. You're going to need it.
That's what emergencies always happen. Something always go, I got to have an oil change in the car. Okay, but I don't have any money to do this oil change. And it's like, you got to do this because you got to maintain that vehicle in order to get back and forth to work.
Exactly. Hypothetically, I've talked to an individual who had to have an alternator put on his car.
Come on.
Well, he lost a day's work. He had to take this check that he got this Friday and spend it on there. So that leaved him either further behind. So now he's really in a pickle. Now he lost a day's work. Here's the real kicker of it. He just spent $150 at the marijuana place the prior week.
Come on. That was that priority setting.
See what I'm saying?
Our judgments are all kind of kiltered, and we're not thinking about the future.
And I'm not tearing down anybody that if you want to smoke marijuana, God place his hand on you. But I'm gonna tell you this. It's gonna cost you if you don't take care of your business. Your priorities. Priority. Make sure you take care of your bills. Make sure you put you some money aside. That's and take care of your family.
Yes.
And if, like we were talking about earlier, everybody like nice clothes. Nobody loves clothes no more than I do. But I know my bill's going to be paid, and I know I got to take some money and put it aside. And I also know that you ain't got to, because they say $200 for it, you ain't got to pay that for it. You can pay a lot less for it. You got to always be looking for the right thing to do. Don't get crazy about it. And go out and spend your money partying out. Then Monday, I know people that get to work Monday don't even have money for cigarettes.
Yes. And they're borrowing.
I have people tell me, no, you got $20, I ain't got no gas in my car. Really?
Yes.
You knew you had to put gas in your car, but you went out and partied the night before and spent all your money. I'm not trying to tear anybody down. I'm just telling you the real.
We've got to be concerned about the way our jobs are and how we're maintaining ourselves and how we're looking toward the future to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and our families.
Take care of your family. Families come first, especially if you got children. You know, God bless my mother. She made sure that we had clothes on our back, and I can't even tell you the time I know she had to sacrifice to make sure we had money and clothes. I'm telling you, raised 6 kids, and we're growing up in an era right now where we didn't have to endure as much. Times were really hard to find jobs back in the 50s and early 60s, anything that paid money. God bless them. They did it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a whole lot more advantages.
Yes.
So you don't have any excuses. And if she can sit there and put clothes on our back and make sure we had food to eat, then you can certainly do better than you doing now.
I know that back in the day, women used to clean houses for people, or we would go out and we would sew clothes for our children.
My mother,
Yes.
my mother sewed, God bless her. She made clothes. She worked 2 jobs. They told her not to go out to the plant and work because that wasn't a job for a woman. My mother said, forget you. I'm going to get me a decent job. And worked it and did 30 plus years on that job. But don't ever let nobody mess with your money. That's what I'm telling you.
We thank you for tuning in. We want you to understand that we've got a lot of concerns about our jobs, the amount of money we're bringing in, how we're spending our monies, what's going to happen to the monies that we do have and set aside for. We've got to be concerned about these things, and this is what we've been discussing. Give yourself your titles again before.
I'm a former union rep, and I'm here to tell you, you got to look out for the future because it's coming.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the presentations and the broadcast. I hope you avail yourself of all the information that was given. Remember to continue to tune in at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. here on RIC TV.